What the hell? Welcome back to What the Hell Navya Season 2, presented by Tira, India's newest beauty shopping experience. We're all about having open and honest conversations, and that's why today we are going to be talking about how society is in a flux. I think the only constant in life is change. There has been so much change in our lives, especially in this lifetime. We've gone from manual cars to driverless cars, from radio to television to now all other forms of content that we now consume on our phones. That's probably where you might be watching this as well. But how have we as a society and as humans been able to cope with that change? And especially the biggest change in our lives, that's been technology and social media. Do you think we've become more frustrated, more empathetic, or do you think we've just gone into a flux? So that's exactly what we're going to be talking about today. And I have two women with me who I know will have a lot of wisdom on how we've been able to cope with all the changes that have come our way. My mom and my nani. So let's start talking about what we think about society and whether we really believe we're in a flux or not. So let's jump right into it. Good morning.
Good morning, Navya.
How are we feeling?
Good.
I'm going to start with news because I think earlier it was, you pick up a newspaper, you watch the morning news or the evening news for those 30 minutes and you get updates on what's happened. But today, the second anything happens, we get a notification if there's an earthquake, if there's some breaking news. We're constantly engaged with the news and just in general what's happening in the world. So, do you find that a little scary that now there's so much information thrown at us? Do you like that? Do you like being so informed to the point where you're 24/7 being told?
I'm one of those people who like being informed. I rather know than not know.
मैं तो टीवी चैनल्स में न्यूज़ देखती नहीं हूँ क्योंकि मुझे नहीं लगता है कि वो कोई तत्व की बात कर रहे हैं. वो एक छोटी सी बात को लेकर अपने
बड़ी चीज बना दे.
हाँ वो.
Do you think that that's because there is nothing positive happening, or do you think that's just a strategy that the media uses?
I think it's more of a strategy.
Yeah, because
that gets your
attention. Yeah,
yeah. So it's a pity that people enjoy reading something negative than something positive.
Because even if you look at like Instagram, if there's a thread or a conversation happening on a post, the most amount of views, the most amount of engagement is going to be on a post that's negative. And that's something that everybody wants to engage in. But, if you compare that maybe with something positive or something good that's being said about someone, yeah, of course, there is engagement, but maybe not as much. So why do we engage in that? Why do we find pleasure in engaging in negativity?
क्योंकि एक attitude बन गया, thank God, हमारे साथ ऐसा नहीं हो रहा है, किसी और के साथ हो रहा है. एक vicarious satisfaction की बात होती है. ये मैं feel करती हूँ. हो सकता है मैं गलत हूँ.
And everyone on social media now gets trolled, and I think it's also a way for people to express their frustration because it's behind a computer screen. You don't know who that person is. You can just... But I want to know how many of those people would actually say the same things in person.
Not many people. People have a lot of courage when they're anonymous.
Yeah, it's like a mask. Like you feel you can say whatever you want without accountability or responsibility.
Yeah. And that's very dangerous.
जो लोगों की कोई शक्ल नहीं होती है और जो इस तरह से कमेंट करते हैं वो बिटर लोग हैं. क्या फर्क पड़ता है? आप किसी चीज में भी कोई भी कमेंट करिए, ये दम है तो असली चीज पे कमेंट करके दिखाइए, अपनी शक्ल दिखाइए.
उन सेम लोगों को अगर आपके सामने बिठा दो तो वो नहीं बोल पाएंगे जो चीजें वो कमेंट्स में.
हिम्मत होगी बोलने की?
विद यू तो डेफिनेटली नॉट.
नहीं, मैं अपनी बात नहीं कर रही हूँ. अगर दम है तो आगे आके बोलिए.
I mean, people are so bitter and frustrated, and somewhere there's there's a word, it's called Schadenfreude, where you're happy for someone else's misfortune.
अंदर इतना गुस्सा है, वो गुस्सा गलत तरीके से निकल रहा है.
बट मैं पूछ रही हूँ कि ये गुस्सा क्यों है? Is that a representation of our society as a whole, that our entire society is just frustrated and it's like a boiling point where people are just angry.
Of course they are angry.
As a whole, as a nation, as a society.
ये जो memes होते हैं, memes होते हैं. I mean, I'm not interested. What kind of pleasure are you getting? किसी की नकल करके, गलत तरीके से करके, वो भी बुरी तरह. वो भी ठीक से नहीं करते.
आपका बहुत होता है ये Instagram.
I don't care.
I like memes, not of hers.
I don't like the bad ones. Like
Navya, you are a very big consumer.
But not of negative memes. I like the funny ones. Those are fun to share. I keep sharing them with you, with Agastya, with Mamu who sends the worst ones, very
Also,
bad
a lot of
jokes.
these trolls get pandered to.
What do you mean?
Like, I feel that, if a celebrity is trolled or cancelled, very soon they'll give an apology and reverse their original quote or opinion
Yeah.
or whatever, their statement. So that's just,
Perpetuating.
yeah, I think it's just perpetuating. I mean, you're not even open to a discussion. Why did you say it? What were you meaning? What was your intention? What was your context? Nothing.
I think because we're so quick to judge, we form an
become
opinion.
very judgmental
We
about
form an
everything.
opinion even before we fully understand the context of what's happening.
I think we've become more reactive.
Yeah, hyper reactive, I think, because someone will say something and you don't even take 5 minutes to just understand why, what, where, who, but you're just instantly like, oh, this person is this. For example, if I said I'm going to watch Barbie and not Oppenheimer, people will be like, oh, she's just, she doesn't want to watch an intellectual film and she's this and she, like, we
But
create
Barbie was an intellectual film. It
yeah,
had
but
a
now
very
who's going to
strong
sit
message.
and explain that to people?
Yes, but it's no one's, I mean.
तो जो नहीं देख रहे हैं ना वो बोलते हैं.
But also, I'll tell you, it's also a little bit the fault of turn around and say, don't follow me if you have a problem.
Yeah.
Or give it back. Because
then
you have to
that
keep.
also becomes a
Yes, but then
controversy
if
of
you
its
keep
own.
quiet and just allow, then people will say, we can say whatever we like to this famous person, and they have nothing to say back. No one is reacting authentically anymore because you're so worried you'll get trolled.
No, I think
you can't say this, you can't say that,
there's
you
also
can't
a lot of
do
pressure
this.
today to be politically correct. Like, you could genuinely say something as a compliment or come from a nice place, but somebody will say, oh, how dare you say that to me? Today, there's this whole thing about commenting on people's weight, commenting on their skin, commenting on how they look, and everyone is very sensitive about the kind of language that you use when you're interacting with people. And then there's that additional pressure of saying that, oh, if you said that, you're not being politically correct. And sometimes it is confusing to know where that line is. You don't know whether you should say it because you genuinely mean it or whether you will get cancelled for saying it because it's not.
I mean, there's a lot of pressure. I feel in our times it was so quite simple. I'm not saying there weren't wrong kind of labeling being done, but I think it was far easier to just be yourself. Today, you don't know what anyone's real thoughts are because everyone is, so politically correct and they don't want to be caught on the wrong foot and they'll get cancelled. Everyone is just worried about being cancelled.
I mean,
what does cancel mean? What they won't watch your
I feel
movies.
that there are so many things I would love to say, but I don't say it because I think it might sound politically incorrect or people might take it in the wrong way. But
I mean, are you not entitled to your own opinion?
On one side, you're saying that there's so much liberal behavior, liberal thinking. On the other side, no, it's not.
It's not, yeah.
हम जैसे ये बैठे हुए हैं, हम तीनों में से एक भी कोई कमेंट कर दें, उसका इतना बड़ा बतंगड़ बन जाएगा और सब लोग उसी में व्यस्त होंगे.
Yeah, and they don't bother to read the whole thing.
Yeah, we could say something here and just one portion of what you've said gets taken out and it becomes a whole discussion where people are now like, oh, she shouldn't have said that. That's not politically correct. But you're not listening to the entire context or conversation of what somebody was trying to say. And then that perception gets created. कि उसने ऐसा बोला तो वो
क्या होता है, सबसे बड़ी ताकत जिसके हाथ में कैंची होती है उसके पास होता है. वो अच्छी चीज निकाल देंगे, उतना ही पोर्शन रखेंगे जहां सेंसेशन जिसका बन सकता है, जिसकी कंट्रोवर्सी क्रिएट हो सकती है, उससे और भी बातें होंगी.
I think it's like you're getting some satisfaction in looking at frustration in someone else's life. That's why you enjoy consuming it. Like
मेरे पास नहीं है तो उसके पास कैसे होगा?
Aspirations are very high. The gap is also become much wider. And I think in general, as a society, somewhere I feel we have this crab mentality that unless you're not succeeding, you don't want to see somebody else succeeding. And there is a line from Three Idiots that I think represents that really well, which is कि अगर दोस्त fail हो जाए तो बुरा लगता है, लेकिन अगर दोस्त first आए तो और भी बुरा लगता है.
It's a horrible thing.
It is, but I think that's what maybe
but that's human nature since I don't know when. Jealousy, envy.
I think it's because of the inequality of options and opportunities that in society we don't have. And
no, we are not creating, we are not educating people that there are options. Avail it. सबके सब जो है एकदम टॉप में पहुंचना चाहते हैं, मगर उसको पहुंचने के लिए जो संघर्ष है वो नहीं करेंगे.
I think instant gratification. We want everything very fast.
Ambition जो है, it's a very personal thing.
Yeah.
I'm not a very ambitious person.
You?
No, I'm not.
I think you are.
I want to achieve the best.
I like that you said ambition is personal because I feel कि आज क्या हो गया है कि हम सोशल मीडिया पे या फ्रेंड सर्कल में लोगों को देखते हैं और वो भी एम्बिशियस है, वो भी अच्छा कर रहे हैं, वो भी अचीव कर रहे हैं, लेकिन हमें लगता है कि हमारा एम्बिशन भी उतना होना चाहिए. I could have achieved everything, but just because there's another individual in my life who's achieved more than I have, I still feel that I haven't achieved. Like, why can't we just achieve at our own personal level? Why does it have to
Exactly.
be to show somebody else that नहीं मैंने
और
भी किया है?
आप इतना कुछ अचीव करना चाहते हैं, उस अचीवमेंट को आप एंजॉय कब करेंगे?
Yeah.
अगर आप 24 घंटा यही सोच रहे हैं, ये मैंने किया, इतना अच्छा नहीं, इससे और ज्यादा करना है, ज्यादा इनफ कब हो जाता है?
You might feel, you know, that I've achieved what I want to in life,
Yeah.
and that I'm happy with that.
Yes.
But then there are some people who feel कि अरे नहीं इसने तो ये कर दिया अभी मुझे भी यही करना पड़ेगा. You know,
देखा देखी.
Yeah.
देखा देखी.
And I really feel that there will always be somebody out there who's smarter, better, who's achieving more, who's maybe
Of course,
doing
but
well, and that does not mean that you in any way are a failure
Yeah,
or you're not
absolutely.
achieving things. It's
और अपना मेजरमेंट या अंदाजा लगाने का तरीका अपना होना चाहिए. भाई मैंने अपनी जिंदगी में ये किया, मेरे से जितना बना मैंने कर लिया. इससे आगे मुझसे नहीं होगा. अगर आप मुझे कहना चाहते हैं कि हाँ यू आर अ फेलियर, यू हैव नॉट बीन एबल टू डू एनीथिंग, यू हैव नॉट अचीव्ड एनीथिंग, सो बी इट. ये सवाल हम लोगों को अपने आप से पूछना चाहिए. मैं क्यों किसी और के इंस्टिगेशन में अपने आप को परेशान करूं? अरे आप तो कुछ भी कर सकती हैं जया जी, आपके पास किस चीज की कमी है? इससे ज्यादा करने की ताकत की कमी है. और अपने आप से कहना पड़ेगा हाँ भाई हो गया, मैंने किया, अब मेरे में इतनी थी, अब इससे ज्यादा मैं नहीं कर सकती. खुश रहो, उसी में खुश रहो. ये मेरा सोचने का.
I agree with what you're saying. Do you have any inputs on this? Okay, do you think now all our social media algorithms are synced? We're all watching the same stuff. We're all consuming the same kind of news, the same shows, the same movies, the same... Everything is the same. We're all watching the same stuff. So do you think that our way of thinking has become more similar than maybe the past and that we lack diversity in thought and thinking?
I don't think so. I think that everyone could be watching the same thing and take away different learnings from it. You and me are going to watch the same show. You may have learned something from it, which I did not. I may have understood and learned something different from it. It's all about how you interpret what there is. I think herd mentality has always been there. This is our biological evolution. We've roamed around in tribes forever. You're always going to be in a tribe, in your head, in your DNA. It's there in your DNA for thousands of years.
And I think that the way that we can move towards a more positive and constructive place is if we allow people to be individuals, allow them to have their individual opinions without giving them flack for doing that.
But we are afraid to do that.
But I'm saying that's where we need to
we
get
are afraid to do that because then you feel that you're moving away from the herd, and moving away from a herd meant you wouldn't be able to survive.
Yeah.
So we do not put good value on individuality. These are things that are ingrained in us for millennia. So it's going to take time.
To conclude, I think that the way to break that cycle is to
गलत चीजें मत देखो, मत सुनो. गांधी जी कह के गए,
गलत चीजें
तो
देख भी रहे हैं, हमें अंदर से वो ताकत लानी चाहिए कि अगर मुझे कुछ सही करना है तो वो मैं डर के नहीं कर सकती. I might be saying something that's completely against the herd mentality, completely against what society believes, but if I think I'm bringing out a positive message, then I have to be brave enough to do that and have faith that maybe if one person does it, then, you know, more people will follow, more people will believe in good and in humanity, and then that's the only way that we have to break this cycle.
It's not that there are not positive things being highlighted.
We just have to
It's just you're gravitating towards these negative things.
Yeah.
So you know what? Maybe give more likes to something which is more positive or highlighting something good.
Well, yes, that was a very insightful discussion, but now we have our game, which you both love playing. So this is, what do you want in the future? So if we could have more developments like we've already had in the world, which one would you want to have in the future? So you have to choose. An app that automatically refills your fridge or an app that automatically refills your car fuel?
Fridge.
I think you would also choose fridge.
I'd rather go and buy things myself.
Okay, time travel in the future or time travel to the past?
Past.
Past.
Yeah, same. The ability to read minds or the ability to be invisible?
Invisible.
I want to read minds.
I want to read minds.
You can. Instagram, Reddit,
No,
Facebook,
but-
you are reading minds.
No, but now.
It is, you know what everyone is thinking at all points of time, by the way, because they're constantly putting it out there.
A microwave that instantly creates a dish that you are craving, or a 3D printer that instantly makes the dress you wish to buy?
Neither.
Microwave.
Yeah, same. A gadget that allows you to change the weather, or a gadget that clears the traffic on your route?
Clears the traffic.
Yeah. Well, now we are diving into Tira Talks, and today's question is: social media these days is prompting near impossible beauty standards, which can make it easy to lose yourself. So how do you keep your originality intact in this atmosphere?
मैं देखती नहीं हूँ.
Yeah, okay, this is then for you.
I think it's about knowing what suits you and not following a trend. So if you know what suits you, you know products that suit you, a look that suits you, then that's what you should do.
Thank you. That's the end of our episode. So that was our episode for today. Thank you for watching and also listening to all our insightful discussions about whether we think society is in a flux or not. Actually, why don't some of you decide and let us know in the comments if you think the same? But I think something I took away from Mom and Nani today is that we need to focus on our individuality. Even if we see people doing negative things, saying negative things, I think we're responsible as humans and as members of society to put out as much positivity as we can. And I know that we'll break this whole cycle of chaos and flux that we're currently living in if we try and do that. I know I'm going to make an active effort to do so. But I hope you enjoyed watching our episode, and a special thanks to Tira for making this happen. If you haven't checked them out yet, please do on tirabeauty.com. You can download their app, or you can even visit them at their nearest store. Thank you.
Little bit of
Fighting,
little bit of
laughter,
and a little of
Arguing.
what the hell.
Navya bashing,
Little bit of
fighting,
not enough of
laughter.
what the hell.
She's running the country. I'm like, what the hell is she